Hi, so today I'm going to be going over a dead Retina board. This may actually be one of the last live videos I do for a while. I've been doing this board repair video series for about a year, and what I'm noticing since I undertook that project is that this is starting to become very, very tiring. And I don't just mean the videos, but just like the actual process of board repair and the process of creating videos and editing them and explaining everything is actually starting to become really tiring. So, I mean, I haven't taken a day off for myself since probably before the first practical board repair school. So my vacation from working all the time and doing all these board repairs is actually a week of teaching between 8 and 12 people how to do board repair and answering constant board repair questions. So I mean, if you don't see a lot of videos that are live in the near future, this is kind of why. So I was kind of preparing for this, so I've been doing a bunch of them, and I've been uploading them in 3-day increments. So they're actually scheduled in 3-day increments, so that hopefully if I go back to deciding to do this, there's not really any gap in content. But if you do see any kind of gap in live content, that would be why. I am completely at a point where I would love for somebody to sit in this chair and take over for me, but it's hard to find good help. Anyway, so enough bitching and complaining over crap. So let's go over this board over here. So when I plug this into the charger, this is an 820-3476 motherboard. I get no light in the charger. See? No light in the charger. The first thing that I would want to do in this case is I want to see if I have PP3V42 underscore G3 hot, because that's a power rail that's very important here. That's the power rail that's going to control the one-wire circuit. Feel free to search through my channel to see what the one-wire circuit is and what the importance of it is on a MacBook motherboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out on the board view where it is I can find PP3V42 underscore G3 hot, so I can measure and see if it exists. So this over here is the board view. I hit N, I type in PP3V42 underscore G3 hot, and let's see if I have any place in the top of the board where I'm able to measure this power rail. Of course, as usual, it opens it in the opposite view on the schematic as it does in the board view as it does in front of me, which is a point of great contention. But let's see. So do we have that power rail? Let's get my multimeter in voltage mode. So we're going to go over to where I think I can measure this and see what I get. Do I get anything? Oh, look at these really nice tiny little points that you can barely see. So I get 0 volts. Now what I'm going to want to see is, do I have a short to ground on that power rail that may be causing this to happen? So I have no short to ground. So the way that I measured for the short to ground was I took my multimeter and I put it into what's called diode mode. You can always do this with resistance mode. I use diode mode purely because it's faster and I am impatient. So I turn it to resistance mode. If you don't know what this shit is, don't ask me. Just reread the manual for your multimeter or Google it. This is basic shit. So turn this to resistance mode or use diode mode. And turn it into diode mode. Take the red probe, put it on ground. Take the black probe and put it on the spot where you would like to see if there's a short to ground. Short to ground means that all the power is going to ground instead of going to where it's supposed to. And if you see a 0 voltage drop to ground or 0 ohms of resistance, you have a short. If you have something much higher than that, you don't have a short. So let's take a look and see what this thing looks like and what it is that could possibly be wrong. So, okay. Oh, this board is deciding to make it easy for me. Thank you. Oh boy, I wasn't expecting that one. Awesome, because I am dead tired and my brain is so melted at this point that I actually spent half an hour on a no backlight board and I gave up. Like, no backlight. No backlight is the simplest shit in the world and I just have no fucking clue what to do. So anyway, see that? Burned. Hopefully not burned, because I'm pretty sure I don't have any of that left. That's some wishful thinking right there. So let's see what you are and what you do. Also you, what the fuck are you and what do you do? See how it has that hole in the middle, that scorched shit? So that's probably no good. So let's go back over to my schematic over here, or my board view. I keep calling it the wrong thing because I'm really tired. So we have R7020 over there. and then we have R705005 over there. So R7005 and R7020, right? Okay, so let's open the schematic here. R7005. So that's where P-bus G3 hot goes in to power the PP3V42 circuit, and R7020 is where the DC-in power goes to power the PP3V42_G3 hot circuit. I've explained how this power rail works. Nice try, Open Broadcaster. You can keep trying, but you're not going to trick me. All right, I've explained how this works in several other videos. You can watch and see what is PP3V42_G3 hot and how does it work. So this is pretty much taking power from either the battery, PP bus G3 hot, or the charger, 18.5 volts, and using it to supply power to here. So the whole point behind this diode is so that if you have PP bus G3 hot and 18 volts, that you don't wind up overloading this. Because let's say your battery is dead. You don't want to be screwed and not have this circuit. So it can be powered from the charger. But let's say the charger is not plugged in. You don't want to be screwed and not have the circuit. So this is the one power rail that's needed for everything else to get started. So you can have two different sources for it. And both of these, I'm not measuring that shit. I know it's dead. So we are going to replace it. Please tell me I have those parts here. I do. And oh my God, I even have that little diode that may be bad. That is the little diode that I'm talking about. Yeah, and it's this thingy over here. If I'm awake later, I will point out to you what that is on the schematic and the board view. So now I'm going to turn on the really noisy air filters and the really noisy HAKKO rework station because I have to use these to remove these pieces. So let's wait for it to get hot. It's going to take a little bit to get hot. And as usual, I'm too impatient to wait for the FR801 to get hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to start removing this thing using solder and a regular soldering iron. So this is what I'm doing here. As you can see, I'm just kind of running a ball of solder and I'm putting new solder in there so that the flux keeps flowing and hoping that eventually, there we go, that we suck that mofo off of the board and that mofo got owned. And we're going to do the same thing with the other nasty shit. So that's over here. Okay, so we're going to take this mofo. See that mofo? And we're going to own him. Or PWN him if you spent too much time in IRC as a kid. Alright. Get out of here. That's right, mofo. Get out of here. Okay. My hot air station should be hot by now, so we can actually start doing some things the proper way. Nice try. There's no place to put the damn tweezers in here because of that stupid little antenna, whatever the fuck that thing is. Its name will come to me eventually, but for now I just call it the annoying antenna-like thing. I'm sure it has a purpose. I'm sure if I had went to college or had a proper electronics engineering or computer engineering education that I would understand what its purpose is. But I don't. I'm just a bum, so I have no fucking clue what that is. I just know that it often likes to get in the way, and that if I had to guess, if I were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, if that were the final question, that I'm pretty sure that that thing does not critical in any way, and that I don't give a shit about its existence. And I'm going to get trolled so hard by all of the purists and all of the engineer people who have never fixed a fucking switch mode power supply in their life, but they're going to make it their personal vendetta to make sure that I get trolled for saying I don't care about that thing. I'm sure that those people will be running here in droves to tell you just what a fucking idiot I am. And I won't care about a damn thing they have to say. I don't think anybody will care about a damn thing they have to say. So at the moment, I don't have a green light. Not only do I not have a green light, but I have smoke. I don't know if you caught that or not, but right here, I caught smoke. This shit over here smoked. Let's take a look at that for a second. Let's see if I can get some more. Yeah, that's no good. So that was smoking. So let's see on the schematic where the smoking is occurring. Let's turn off this annoying fuck-ass air filter because I'm not soldering at this moment. And let's see if we can go over what's going on, what's happening, and show you how it is we're going to troubleshoot the actual problem. So what I did over here is I checked for a short on PP3V42 output, right? And over here, I had no short to ground, so I figured that I might be safe and good to go. The problem is that the short circuit most likely exists somewhere over here by these three capacitors. So one of those three capacitors is shorted to ground. These capacitors are kind of acting as a battery. It's stabilize whatever is coming through here so that this chip has some nice working power to go with instead of a bunch of wavy, unstable crap. So let's check and see which one of those two it is that was bad. So the thingy that went smoking was not this one. It was this one. It was R7020. And that makes sense because R7020 is the one that's coming from the DC in board, whereas R7005 is the one that would be coming from PP-Bus G3 hot, which will only be created after this rail has stabilized or if you have a battery present, which we do not. So R7020 would be the sensible one. So what's probably happening here, there's no path to ground through here. PP-Bus G3 hot is not shorted to ground because I did check for that, which means that C7092, C7091, or C7090 most likely are shorted to ground, or U7090 is shorted to ground. So the one way to go about checking this would be to go over to my board view and check for C7092, C7091, C7090, and we're going to check and see what those look like on the motherboard once I know where they are. So over here, it says that those three components are sitting in a little line over here on the other side of the board. Now, since I'm turning the board around, I have a very unique opportunity to orient it in the manner that it's oriented on the screen, which is pretty cool because usually I'm orienting it the wrong way all the time. Now, when we go over to that area on the motherboard, you're going to see something that looks like this, and that's no good. So see, those are those three capacitors, and they look pretty fucked up. I mean, that's... Like, I'm pretty sure that the chip that's creating PP3V42 is fine. It's just these capacitors on input are destroyed. I'm not sure which of the three it is. And you know what? I don't really care because I'm going to replace them all. So my hot air station is already hot. It already has power. So I'm going to turn on my air filter, my loud air filter, so that I don't smell any of this. I don't inhale any of this. There's really no reason to let any of this stuff go into your lungs unless you just have no respect for your body. So I'm going to remove this. Here's the thing when I talk about air filters and the importance of air filtration and things of that nature. One of the common defenses a lot of people will have is that, you know, it's not... There are a lot of things that are bad for you. Everything is bad for you. And here's the thing that I would propose. So, when you eat something that may not be 100% good for you, I'm not saying you should, but at the very least you may get some enjoyment out of it. I don't drink all the time, but I drink on occasion, and when I do drink, I probably drink a little bit more than what is responsible. But the thing is, I'm doing that for... I feel a great sense of personal enjoyment out of that. But when you inhale flux and solder fumes, not only are you fucking killing yourself, but you're doing so for no sense of personal enjoyment. And let's be serious here, because we got a lot of people on the internet that will say things like, I like the smell of flux. It's good. That's what real work is. And in reality, are you saying that because you mean it? Because in the bottom of your heart, you know that to be true? Or are you saying that because you simply have no desire to admit that maybe this tool... that sucks up dangerous shit fumes in the air would actually be good for you? Like, are you motherfucking piece of garbage? Fuck you. All right, anyway. Are you saying that because you actually believe it, or are you saying it because it sounds cool and it makes you feel big and better and blah, 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 to simply not have this tool that will absorb poisonous shit in the air that would otherwise go in your lungs just because it sounds cool? All right, so out of the three capacitors there, 2 of them went to the 6th dimension, so luckily I have a number of donor boards here, so I don't have to worry about this. But such is life when I need to like find somebody to do this shit for me. I am very excited at the idea of moving on to doing different things in different business. But board repair is something that I am quickly growing tired of. Because it's like the same thing over and over again. Like, it's fun when you get to master a field from nothing, but then when you're pretty much doing the same shit over and over again without a break, it's kind of boring. Like, it's the same story. It's the same. Everybody has their hair on fire and they want to know why it is they haven't gotten their stuff back in less than 1 business day. I have calls for this motherboard already. This thing came in at 3 o'clock today. Right now, it's 9:41 p.m. I don't understand. I feel like repair is too important for you. I take that back. I feel like you are too important for repair. People such as yourself need to purchase new. When it breaks, you just buy a new one. You're too important to wait for people to fix your shit. But it's not the people. Like, it really isn't. Because in every industry you deal with people. And that's not what gets me. It's just, there's just a thought process that you need to do this work. And where I used to have, you know, you kind of have these feelings in your brain where you know, it's I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like, it's just something in your brain that you feel when you're on a roll and you're thinking and you're solving a problem. And I don't feel that anymore. Like, there's just like a chemical or something that goes to your brain, and for me that shit is just kind of gone. And it's making doing any of this really, really difficult, long-winded, and annoying. But for the time being, and for as long as I can, I will publish this video series so that hopefully people will learn from it. So let's see, since we've removed our short, if that resistor will stop going on fire. Because if that resistor keeps going on fire, I'm not going to be able to give this board back to the customer. So as you can see, the fan is spinning. I do have an orange light in the charger, and it's good to go. And that resistor did smoke a tiny, tiny bit. But it's probably fine. The fan is spinning. I'd replace it again, but you called 14 times between this afternoon and 9:43 p.m., so I'm sure it's just fine. And we're set and good to go. Again, the fan spins. We remove the short in the board. So just to go over what it is that happens so that you guys can learn something, let me just turn off all this noisy stuff again so that it's easier for me to talk. We're going to go back over to the schematic so I can show you what was wrong. This wasn't turning on because there was no green light, there was no PP bus G3 hot, and there was no PP3V42. In order for the light to turn green, you need something called the one-wire circuit to work. In order for the one-wire circuit to work, which is this thing over here, it needs to be powered by PP3V42_G3 hot. So see this? See adapter sense over here? In every motherboard, there's a different way they do this, but they always use this kind of thing for the MagSafe chargers. So you have sys1 wire, which is a bidirectional data line. See what it says bi over there? That is talking to the adapter. So this over here, J7000, is where your charger plugs in. And that is talking on adapter sense. Now, this is going to talk to the SMC. Sys1 wire goes to the SMC. I'm too tired to scroll to that page in the schematics, so you're just going to have to believe me or look it up yourself there. But this chip will not turn on. See, the VCC pin will not turn on unless it has power from here. And this logic gate is powered by PP3V42_G3 hot. Now over here, there was no short to ground on PP3V42_G3 hot. So what I decided to do is I just decided to look around. Well, I didn't decide to look around. I kind of looked down because I was tired. And I noticed that R7020 looked like it was boiled. So I replaced it since it was boiled. And then it decided to boil again. Now, the reason this is going to boil is because there's too much power being dragged through here. So instead of there being a standard load, there's something that's asking for infinite energy, which is more than this little thing is going to be able to send. So if there's no short to ground over here, the short to ground is, and this is burning because of the power being sought through it. And there's no short to ground on PP bus G3 hot. which is behind here, which is, you're not going to get to with this diode blocking it anyway. The only natural path would be somewhere over here. So there are 3 capacitors over here, and this over here is ground. Now, we went over and looked at those capacitors. Those capacitors look like complete crap. And once we replaced those capacitors, we had a green and then an orange light and the fan spinning, which means that the board is powering on and working. So that's how we troubleshooted the problem. That's how we troubleshooted the machine not powering on to it powering on, and we're set and good to go. And again, I really hope I do manage to find the energy to go back to doing these videos on a regular basis. If I don't, at the very least, when I do feel like my brain's working and I feel like putting time and effort into doing this, I'm going to do a bunch of them, and I'm going to set them on YouTube where it's scheduled. So it posts one video every 3 days, so there's still regular content being posted. Even when it is, I just realize I just want a break from touching motherboards. Or at the very least, since again, I know I'm never going to get a break from touching motherboards because I haven't found anybody else to sit in the chair who can do the job worth a damn yet. At the very least, I'll have a break from just having to speak and having to film it and having to work slow and having to explain things and having to put the microphone on and set up the camera and blah, blah, blah. And again, usually I enjoy all that stuff. It's just I'm just kind of getting tired. So that's that. And I hope you learned something.